Hey, Jason, I'm Tessa with mamasgeeky.com. So excited to see you back this season. So we thought that might not happen. So how did it feel when you first realized you were coming back?
I was very excited because I love the show so much, and I was also nervous because I knew that Pat had done some bad things. There's something about at the end of the last season being revealed and then being like, oh, everything's crazy, and then he's just dead or out or destroyed or something. And I was really excited to be able to join all these characters again. And I thought they did a great job of navigating what it would be like to try to step back into that group of people after lying to them all for years and killing some of their loved ones, attempting to kill their children potentially. It was exciting to see what they had written for my character.
Megan?
So I feel like all of the roles that you've really played are very like nice guy comedy. So what is it like stepping into these villain shoes? Because obviously like a lot of the first season, you're very hands-on and loving. And then it's like, bam, oh my gosh. So what is it like playing the villain?
It was so fun. I really have to say it was a lot of fun. And I think playing a lot of the nice guy parts and things like that in comedies, I feel like I wish I could say that that's who I really am. And, and I'm not a big crooked man, lightning guy either. But I think there's something that is sort of refreshing about being able to show some of my pettier sides and like the parts of me that are selfish or feel like, oh, I wish I had gotten that, or I should have done that. Any of those little emotions that I'm not proud of, that I try to hide away from the world and just be like, no, please, everybody like me. That's please. It was really nice to play this character that had the same desire to be liked that I did, but had those other elements in him as well. And then just to really lean into him at a certain point was a lot of fun, sort of cathartic in a way. So that I don't in my own life have to become a big lightning man.
Awesome, thanks.
Robin?
Hi, Jason.
Hello.
I'm a big fan of this first season, and I just got a sneak peek at season 2. I really love the contrast of your character and all of this back and forth, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing. So what are you most excited to explore with your character in season 2?
I think the thing that I was most excited to explore is, he has this idea of himself at the beginning of the second season that this crooked energy came in and made him do all these bad things. But now I'm okay, and now I'm trying to help, and I'm a good guy and all these things. But the thing about Pat is that he does have these things that are his own flaws, that have nothing to do with any kind of supernatural element, any kind of feeling of that other people are moving faster than him in their career or their romantic lives, or any of the jealousies, or all that's just Pat, and all of the lying and trying to, justifying in his own head of like, well, I can't tell people this because then they'll do this, and I just want to control everybody's idea of how they feel about me. It's really interesting to have someone like that be, first of all, revealed to the world as to who they are, but then also to also try to, he has a really hard time trying to understand that it's both of them together. I think a lot of us like to blame something else. Oh, well, that night I was angry, or that something bad had happened to me that day, so that's why I acted like that. So that's not really me. And you can't really do a full good apology when you're not taking full accountability. And I think accountability is something that's a tough for Pat, tough for a lot of people. And I thought it was really fun to play this guy who is trying to get everyone to trust him again, but already has, lied to all these people. And there's some things he's a complicated guy. So I'm excited to see how people respond to Pat this time around, whether the actions of the first season completely color him for all of it, or, I've already seen some people are super willing and wanting to forgive him and have an explanation that they can go, okay, so that's what I thought. You are a good person. You just had this bad thing. So it's fun to have this character where there's no kind of wrong interpretation of him as a watcher of the show. I really enjoyed seeing people hate Pat even earlier than I thought they would. I'm like, oh wow, okay, cool. It's just fun. It's exciting, and I enjoy that there's not like a raising Dion stamp of approval of how you're supposed to feel about every character. They're complicated.
Renisha?
Hi, I'm Renisha from Queen Thrifty. I just will keep the questions going as far as what I've asked the other cast members. If you could say anything to the fans that have waited for the past couple of years for season 2, what would it be?
I think it would be it's worth the wait. I promise. It really feels like Raising Dion 2.0. Like it looks more beautiful. The special effects this season are absolutely bonkers, which if you even watch the season 2 trailer of the show, you can see it's just like, a lot of it is because more of the world has been revealed. So, they're not discovering things as we go. We know a lot more, so they can show a lot more. And all of the kids are 2 years older, and it's like a little bit more mature, but it's still a family show. But it's really interesting to be dropped in the middle of this world again 2 years later after such a huge shift in loyalties. And I think everyone was kind of thrown for a loop at the end of the last season, and it's fun to get to see these characters 2 years down the line and see what's been going on with all of them. So I'm excited. I hope everyone likes it as much as they like the first one, or more. Actually, I hope they like it more.
Thank you.
Tammy?
Hi, Jason. I'm Kami.
Hi.
Hey, I'm from the momanddiaries.com.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well. So I was really cheering for your character in the beginning, let me tell you, but I don't know, Pat seems to have some struggles within himself. So this season, I couldn't help but notice a theme of like, the characters are kind of going through their own pandemic. I mean, there's mention of controlling an outbreak and stopping the spread, all while we're living our own personal pandemic here, and you guys are filming during the pandemic. Do you know if that whole theme, was that intended?
No. So this whole season was written before COVID-19 was a thing. We were supposed to start shooting, I can't even remember, I think like in July or something, and then it got pushed because everything got canceled. But it was wild to see how much of it was, had similarities. But I think in general, what I understood the idea was before I was even thinking about this as a pandemic is the sort of emotional elements. If the crooked man has been feeding on Pat's entitlements and insecurities and anger and all of his rage, this felt like how that can spread, how that hate and that anger can kind of infect the people around us. And so it was not intentional at all. It just happened to be one of those things where all of a sudden the world changed and the season had already been written, and so we went with it.
It's crazy relevant. Thank you so
Yeah, absolutely.
Candy?
Hi, Jason. It's wonderful to get to speak with you. I'm Candy Olivares from candypalooza.com. So Pat from season 1 is obviously very different from Pat season 2. Was there a scene that you were most excited to film? And besides the post-credit film from the final episode, because I watched it all, it's amazing.
That's awesome. I want to make sure everyone stays for the end credits of the last episode.
Yes, definitely.
There were a lot of scenes that I was really excited to shoot. But I think one of the ones that I was most excited for was the first couple times Nicole and Pat see each other, because they have such a history. And they had a lot of great feelings towards each other. Some, maybe they were friend feelings, maybe there were more feelings from one of them, who knows? But for her to find out that not only had he been lying, she's in the first season, especially if you go back after she's going, look at this crooked man. Have you ever seen it? He's going, oh, geez, that's okay, crazy. Yeah, who knows? And so the fact that not only did by all of his lies of omission has he put them all in danger, but then actively tried to sap Dion's power and potentially kill him in the process. So, Alicia and I are great friends. We still like each other. Nothing bad has happened between us, so it's totally great. But that moment where Nicole first finds out that Pat is alive even and goes and confronts him, I just had this feeling of when Nicole walked in, when Alicia walked in as Nicole, this feeling of like, oh gosh, this is gonna be tough, because she, Alicia's such a wonderful actor, and just coming in with the feelings of anger and I mean, I feel like it was like Pat had the audacity to be alive even. It's like, right. How dare you? And so it was really fun, because it felt like in all of those scenes with Nicole, I really felt like engaged in terms of, how do I win her over? How do I make her trust me? How do I prove to her that I'm safe now, that I'm okay, and how quickly can we move past all of this bad stuff?
Thank you so much. And I'm rooting for season 3, 4, and beyond.
Oh, me too.
Lynette.
Hi, Jason.
Hello.
I'm Lynette with Fantastic Life, and I'd like to know if you could share any fun facts about season 2, maybe specifically about your character or anything in general with your audience.
Oh, some fun facts. Let's see. I think one of the fun things to, let's see, it's hard not to, no, I can't even say that. I think one of the interesting, fun things about the show for me was it's a completely different season from the first season. In the first season, I got to hang out with Josiah and Alicia all the time. We're palling around and being friendly. And this season, I spent quite some time in a glass box away from everybody, and he deserved to be there, to be honest. But it's really interesting to see how the show has grown, and I think you'll see that it's hard to think of a fun fact, just because everything was so different. I last season Josiah and I would mess around to a point where there was one day where we were playing a game where he was shooting fireballs at me and I was trying to dodge them, and then it was just on a break, and then by the time we got, it was back to shooting in the pizzeria, someone said, "What happened to you?" Now, what do you mean? And I looked in the mirror, and it was as if I had jumped into a pool. I was sweating profusely. My clothes had wet spots on them. My hair was wet and looked completely different so they had to stop shooting just because I had been playing like a 5-year-old out in the alleyway. I had to just sit there with about 5 hair dryers on my hair and my face and my clothes and my body, just sitting there in my shame. So I took some of that shame that Jason felt into some of the shame that Pat feels in this season.
Thank you.
Melissa.
Hello, I'm Mel from the Mommyhood Chronicles. I guess I want to know, how is the dynamic on set, especially working with all the kids? They were like adorable watching all of them too. So I wanted to know that.
They are so great. All of them are so great. And Griffin, who plays Brayden, is a lot more fun and, and outgoing than his character was. So all four of them are just awesome. And Sammy in particular, who plays Esperanza, is just so funny, like just out and out hilarious. And she'll just say things that are completely out of left field. And the three of them, especially Gavin and Josiah and Sammy, have such a special relationship off camera. They're constantly making little commercials for Raising Dion and like putting it on their Instagrams. And I'm like, who's editing all of this? How are you guys doing it? And they really have their own triangle of justice there. But they're just so much fun. I had so much fun last season working with them all more. This time I was with Brayden a lot, with Griffin, and he was really great. He had some very good questions about the crooked energy and how it all feels and goes down. And he was also very good at acting with nothing, with what would eventually be a smoky, scary energy monster guy. He really, all of the kids have that ability to imagine what will be special effects later. I still have trouble with that. But their imagination is so still intact that they can really go there in their brains. And when they put it in later, you fully believe that they're seeing what they're seeing, which is nice.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Tessa?
Hi again. I'd love to know how you would describe season 2 in 3 words.
Oh, bigger. I don't know another thing. 3 words is tough. I guess I would say next level Dion.